Thank you, Liana. Thank you, guys. Thank you. It's not enough. I still feel empty inside. Thank you for trying. I appreciate the effort from some of you. How are you guys doing? Yeah. Are you? No, you sound like you are. I don't know. I'm just hesitant asking people that question because people almost always give a positive answer when you ask how they are, right? It's almost always, yeah, doing fine, doing well, can't complain. We lie to each other constantly. I mean, I'm not saying I'm never doing well, but I'm definitely not always doing well. And when people ask me how I'm doing now, I've started answering truthfully. I really have. Someone asked me 2 days ago, and I told him. I said, basically, I feel like I'm walking over like this very narrow, rickety, like a footbridge, you know, like this shaky footbridge suspended across just a vast abyss, really. I mean, there's just darkness everywhere as far as I can see. But I feel like there's light up ahead. You know, it's an article of faith, but I'm trusting that if I keep working on myself, and I am working on myself. I've been in therapy for decades. I've been meditating. Like I feel like I'm making progress. But I've also felt like I've been making progress for a long time. And has anything really changed? So maybe this is the abyss. I may already be in the abyss. I mean, listen, I'm not suicidal, but thank God, if there is a God, which I seriously doubt, but thank God that suicide is an option. And they said, well, we value you as a Verizon customer. So I upgraded, I got the 8 Plus, and I gotta say, everything's fine now, guys. Everything's good, I can't complain. I think my feelings of inadequacy were because I didn't have enough megapixels before. I think that's what was going on. No, and we all have our struggles, and I think the only way we can have an authentic connection as humans is if we acknowledge that. I mean, I'll be open with you guys. I have obsessive compulsive disorder, which, yeah, I mean, if anyone has OCD, well, raise your hand 6 times. It's, and I've been on every possible medication for OCD. It was really severe for decades. I tried everything, nothing had helped. And then I read a scientific study, actually partially funded by MAPS, where they found that psychedelic mushrooms could potentially treat OCD. So I tried to cure myself. And yeah, and as Liana mentioned, I have a show about this called The Mushroom Cure. And when people hear about my show, they'll often ask me, they'll say, well, did it work? Did you cure yourself? And I always tell them the same thing. I say, buy tickets. I'm not just going to give you the answer. Unbelievable. And then they say, but I'm your mother. I'm just concerned about you. No excuses, Mom. Buy tickets. Go to themushroomcure.com. Give me a little bit of support, and could you increase my allowance? That would be helpful. So I'm not going to give away the show, but I will tell you this. I had one experience where I took a huge dose of mushrooms about 2 hours ago, and I had this moment, though, this moment of clarity where I realized that the universe, it's all one thing, right? We're just different manifestations of some sort of fundamental underlying consciousness. But when I'm waiting on an elevator and I hear someone coming, I still press door close. So it's tough, man. It's tough. But my life is a lot better now. The OCD is a lot better to the point that I can travel a lot. I couldn't do that when the OCD was bad. And recently I traveled to Peru. Just because I've always really been fascinated by the history and the culture, and no, I'm joking. I went to Peru to drink ayahuasca, obviously. I went to Peru to get high on drugs, that's right. Don't call ayahuasca a drug, as you can tell. People get very upset, and whatever you do not refer to the shaman as a dealer. It's bad, don't do it. I assume most of you are familiar with ayahuasca. If you're not, it's, well, Michael talks about it in his book towards the end. It's gotten very popular and surprising. So it's an admixture of 2 plants indigenous to the Amazon. And together they form this very potent psychedelic, and it doesn't sound appealing on paper. Like Like the actual true effects of ayahuasca, they sound like anti-drug propaganda. They sound like the sort of lies that people have told us about other drugs, to prevent us from doing them, to just make it unappealing. Like, you know what I'm talking about, those sort of lies, like MDMA puts holes in your brain. Or if you do LSD once, you'll think fish is amazing forever. These horrible, horrible lies they tell us. It actually takes 3 LSD trips to become a fish fan, little known fact. Really depends how good your LSD is, but yeah, ayahuasca, it's the only drug where people are like, or medicine, it's the it's the only substance where people are like, for 7 hours I thought I was dying, I had explosive diarrhea, it was the greatest experience of my life. I'm gonna do it again tonight, I'm actually gonna up my dosage tonight. We're gonna, really. But it's gotten so popular. It's gotten so popular to the point that I feel like within the next 2 years, shaman is going to replace app developer as the most popular career choice in the Bay Area. Like that's happening. It's going to be shaman, app developer, nonprofit. Those are the 3. There's going to be diet ayahuasca soon. Wait for it. It's going to happen. I swear. And the marketing will be amazing. Diet ayahuasca. All of the entities, none of the calories. Diet ayahuasca. But the reason it's popular is because it's said to be very healing. People say that 1 night of ayahuasca is the equivalent of 10 years of therapy, which means I've just had 140 years of therapy. Why am I such a mess? This is bullshit. I should be way more stable. So I went to Peru, and I drank ayahuasca, and it was challenging. It was challenging, but it was rewarding in a lot of ways. But I had one ceremony in particular where I took what I thought was a slightly larger dose. It turned out to be substantially larger. And and basically I became convinced I was dying. Because I had this cardiac event 10 years ago that I've recovered fully from, but in that state I was convinced that I was having a heart attack and I was dying. And I was not happy about this. This was not, I was screaming and writhing and sobbing. And everyone at this retreat center, the shamans, the supportive staff, they were all trying to help me. But in traditional ayahuasca shamanism, the healing modality is singing. They sing to you. That's how they heal you. It like shifts your energy. And for the past 2 weeks at this retreat center, I was like, man, this singing is totally fixing me. This is all I need. This is completely healing me. But now that I knew I was dying, and everyone is just, they're singing their hearts out. They were, God bless them, but they're singing, and I'm like, can I please get some Western medicine? Can I get an IV or something? Anything, please. And they're just singing, and I'm dying, and then at a certain point, I realized, there's no polite way to put this, I realized I was gonna shit my pants. I wasn't happy about it, but I will say, if you're going to shit your pants, the best time is definitely right before you die, because that is not your responsibility. You don't have to worry about it. So I was okay with it, but I mentioned to the people who were singing to me, doing ayahuasca's greatest hits or whatever, there was a little bit of a break, a set change or whatever, before I was like, hey, just so you know, I'm gonna shit my pants. And they were not on board with this at all. They were actually more concerned about the pants shitting than my imminent demise, which made me furious because clearly I didn't appreciate the enormity of what was happening now. And so I got really kind of nasty. I was swearing at people. I was yelling at people. I was like, don't you fucking get it, I'm dying. Eventually they got me up and they helped me make my way to the bathroom. I get to the bathroom and this guy, Joe, one of the people who works there, is like, do you want to leave the door unlocked in case you need help in there? And I'm like, yes, I'm going to leave the door unlocked because you have to come in and get my shitty corpse, Joe. I'm not going to... What sort of question is that? And Joe looks at me for a moment and he says, you know, Adam, I know you're scared and I know you're suffering and we're all trying to help you, but you're being very rude right now. I'm sorry. And I go into the bathroom and I realize that being aggressive like that, being nasty, it was actually a choice I was making. I didn't think it was a choice. I thought I was just reacting the way I had to react based on the circumstances, but no, that was a choice, and maybe an understandable choice in that context when you think you're dying, but the fact is, I realized I make that same choice to be essentially selfish in different ways, to just act out of fear and pain without regard to how it affects other people. I make that choice fairly regularly in my daily life, and I don't think it serves me, and I don't think it serves the world. And I realized I could make a different choice. And since then, I have made a different choice. Not all the time, probably not even most of the time, if I'm going to be honest, but some of the time, I've chosen to behave differently. And this, to me, this is one of the fruits, one of the main fruits of psychedelic experience, is it shows us that so much of what we assume is just the way things are is really, it's just an assumption. Reality is far more malleable than we recognize generally. We have so much more control over our own thoughts and our own behaviors. And to reference the title of Michael Pollan's book, I think if we change our mind, we really do change the world. Because personally, I believe that reality is subjective. That's what I think. And if anyone thinks I'm wrong, you're right. So thank you guys. We're going to get this thing started. I'm so thrilled for this event. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's still not enough, but closer. So